Yeah, I just sent her the link, so hopefully she's.
Okay, I'm sure she'll come on any second now.
Right.
Let me know whenever you're ready, Elaine.
It is 12:36. We're 1 minute late.
Oh my God.
The time is now to start.
Perfect. So welcome, everybody. I do see all your beautiful faces. I apologize. Within this Zoom world, I'm having some technical difficulties with my camera again. So I apologize for not being on for you visually, I guess I should say. But welcome again to another City of Aventura update meeting with our mayors and commissioners. And thank you for everybody for spending your this afternoon with us. Thank you, first of all, to Michael Stern, our extraordinaire Zoom coordinator, for another meeting. So thank you, Michael, for taking the time to do this for us this afternoon.
And Dr. Marks is here, by the way. Dr. Marks is here. So
yes.
Perfect. Welcome, Dr. Marks.
Thank you so much.
I did have, as I said earlier, this part of my thing where I was going to say I'm logging on from the City of Excellence in Aventura, and the prize goes to our board member Stephanie Trump from Israel. Shalom. But for that, I kept it in the agenda in my part anyway. But Stephanie is in Aventura just like the rest of us. So welcome anyway. Our city manager, Ron Wasson, is on here, as well as our former vice mayors, Billy Joel, and I'm not sure, I didn't see Luz. Is Luz on?
No.
Not yet.
Oh,
Nope.
okay, not yet. Perfect. We've all been watching some of the new construction in Aventura, and one of those buildings that's going up is the Aventura, the beautiful new Aventura Hilton, being constructed just on the south side of Aventura. And Ray Ramirez is with us today from the Aventura Hilton. Ray has been in the world of Zoom and our meetings. Ray has been tremendous in doing sponsorships for us over the last several months. So welcome, Ray. Every time we talk to you, you get closer and closer. I believe to your opening. I was by there yesterday. And I think you should be fairly close, even with everything going on. But that being said, I will turn it over to Ray Ramirez from the Hilton of Aventura to give us an update. Ray?
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, everyone. So I'm very happy to say, we're still on schedule to open on December 15th at this point. And instead of showing you a boring presentation, we're going to show you a video with some music. And Michael's going to put play right now, and you'll get to see our new baby that's going to be open real soon.
Okay, come on, I'm ready. Let's do it then.
And again, I'm happy to say we are going to be opening up December 15th. That's our scheduled date. We are giving hard hat tours, so give me a call and I'll put all my full information in the chat. If you want to come and see the property, we've been doing hard hats quite a few per week. We have 15,000 square feet of event space, internal and external, and we're excited. We can't wait till we open the property. And now I'm going to be introducing Mayor Weisman. And I had the pleasure of introducing our Aventura Mayor, Enid Weisman, but she really doesn't need an introduction. But just in case there may be a person or two who hasn't had the opportunity to learn about our great mayor, let me fill you in. She started as a public school teacher and rose through the ranks of Miami-Dade County Public Schools. And opening Dr. Michael Kropp Senior High, then went on to become Region Superintendent and then Chief Human Capital Officer, where she was responsible for 50,000 employees and conducted negotiations with 5 different labor unions. Her passion to better her community have always been front and center, and she was the first woman elected as chair of the Aventura Hospital Board of Trustees, as well as the first woman mayor of Aventura when she was elected in 2012 and re-elected in 2016. Mayor Weisman, it's an honor to turn the program over to you.
Ray, thank you, thank you, thank you. But I do have to correct something. I'm not the first woman mayor elected in Aventura. That wonderful title goes to Susan Gottlieb. She was the mayor prior to me, but it's okay because you weren't here. I have to say, in the few short months, Ray, you've really become a presence in Aventura. I seem to see you almost everywhere I go, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful that we are getting a facility like the Hilton. A picture's worth 1,000 words, so a video must be worth 1,000,000 words. It is spectacular, absolutely spectacular.
Thank you, Enid.
Really and truly. And just as spectacular is your involvement with our city. And Jason, you got high bars to reach. We expect all of our businesses to be very, very involved with our community and our residents. With that said, and enough has been said about me, this has been a challenging time. You know, let's all kind of take a breath and realize that this is the first time in any of our lifetimes that we are going through a pandemic. And if there's one thing we know it takes a great deal of flexibility. We go to bed, I go to bed at night, and the next morning I wake up with more orders. By noon, the orders have been changed. It's keeping every city manager almost working 24/7, adjusting to this new normal. But on a 60,000 view horizon, Aventura is doing very, very well. Our malls reopened, our parks, many of our parks have opened. We started school yesterday in a very strict phased-in manner. We're trying to get back to whatever the new normal is. And I know there are questions about it, so I'll come back at the very end. But there's so much good happening in our city in spite of the virus that we have no control over. So I would like to introduce the Vice Mayor of Aventura, Howard Weinberg. And Howard's going to talk to us about electric transportation. A lot of transportation news in this city. But Howard, I don't see you on my screen. I know you're somewhere.
I'm here. Can
Okay.
anyone else see me? I'm actually in the commission chambers, as you can see.
Okay, I see you now. The floor is
Okay.
yours. And anyone who has a question can type it into the chat room. If time permits, we'll answer the questions.
Thanks, Mayor. I guess I have 5 minutes to tell you about something that I'm very excited about. I think it's a game changer for our city, and that is the freebie electric on-demand ride service that's coming. It was an initiative of mine, and I want to thank the mayor and the commission for enthusiastically embracing it. And it took a little bit of time. We had to go through, of course, the RFP process, but it's happening, it's coming. It'll be phased in. There'll be a trial run, but I think everyone is going to benefit from our residents, to our businesses and our hospitality industry, speaking of the Aventura Hilton. And by the way, Jason and Ronaldo, please give my regards to the Abo family, some of the finest people that do business in our community. Basically, as you all know, we have a robust bus circulator system right now, the Aventura Express. There are 6 routes, but the routes make between 16 and 25 stops, sometimes as many as 34 stops on a Saturday when we have fewer buses. And it has a defined route system. So if you want to go, for example, from Point East to the mall, you may be sitting in that bus for an hour. If you want to go from Mystic Point 400 to the mall where you can practically throw a stone to it, you're going to sit for an hour. Now on the reverse, you may only sit for 8 minutes, but it's a matter of where you are compared to where you want to go. So now what's coming is 9 passenger electric vans with an app, so it's on demand, point to point. And by the way, it's free. It's called Freebie. It's free. And it also doesn't cost our taxpayers anything because it's part of the half-cent transportation tax that we now use for the circulator buses. So we will make our system even more robust. Also has opportunities for a revenue share. So taxpayers we might actually make money as taxpayers when it's wrapped, as you see on city buses or Miami-Dade County buses. But the bottom line is you can either call on the phone if you're not comfortable with it, using an app, or on the app. It's basically Uber for free. And it will take you to your doctor's appointment, and it will take you to the mall, and it will take you to wherever it is that you need to go in our area. So we'll start first, probably do some test runs in the south portion of the city. Our good friends at Point East, who have very significant transportation needs, they're going to be able to use this to get to their medical appointments. They're going to be able to use it to go into the air-conditioned mall. They're going to be able to use it to do what they need to do. And we're going to see how well it's received, how much it gets used, and it will continue to expand. The operator tells us they can completely replace our circulator system. We're not about to do that, but we're going to see how this works, making it a more robust system, and then we'll see what the future will hold. But I think everybody here has used Uber or Lyft, and you can imagine now if you have this opportunity and it doesn't cost you anything. And by the way, even tipping is not allowed. I think it'll probably be a don't ask, don't tell. I'm sure some people will feel like they need to give something to the driver, but that's between the passenger and the driver. But really, officially, tipping isn't even allowed. This is an amenity. This is a value added coming to Aventura. I could not possibly be more excited. And this, we're going to get started after, and if I may be so presumptuous, the commission officially gives the green light, no pun intended, or maybe pun intended, at our next workshop meeting, which is coming up in October. So I think I did that within the 5 minutes. I didn't see a signal from Elaine or from the mayor.
No, I'm watching the time, and what I will do is I did for you. If there are no questions, I will allow each commissioner to use the question time just to further develop their topic. But right now, I don't see any questions, Vice Mayor Weinberg, so.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much, Mayor.
No, we thank you. Okay, next, it's my pleasure to introduce Commissioner Robert Shelley. Bob and I were elected at the same time. We're 6 years into this gig. I don't know what I'd do without him. Bob, the floor is yours. Mute.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This has been, as the mayor said, a tumultuous, unusual time for all of us. And I guess it's not in any of our resumes as exciting and all that we think we've accomplished in our life. What we've been going through in the last year, in the last 6 months to a year, is unprecedented. But one of the things I did want to just touch on a little bit is how, as a city and as a community, we got through all this. Because unlike so much that you see all over the country, we have not fortunately experienced some of the turmoil and controversy within the communities that so many have seen. And what I loved about it was we as a commission worked as a unified voice. And in most cities, that was not the case. Most boards, that was not the case. But we had a vision and we had direction that we wanted to make sure. And that primarily was that as this thing progressively got worse and things started shutting down, we as a commission and as a city recognized the fact that the most important thing we could do for the residents was to create as much normalcy in the midst of chaos as possible. And by doing what we did, we tried to keep as much open safely. We tried to keep the restaurants open as best as we could. When things were shut down, everyone adhered to it. We enforced the curfews. And, you know, on a side, you know, two of the commissioners, myself and Dr. Marks, are presidents of our respective associations. And we implemented the exact same protocols that the city did in our communities as well. I will tell you, we have had very few cases in the city, as unlike so many others, fortunately. We have adhered to these protocols. The restaurants, most importantly, as we started opening, which was the most difficult part, people wanted to get out. They wanted to socialize. They wanted to be with friends. And that's where we saw so many of the increases. But psychologically, it actually worked out to our benefit that we kept the protocols in place, we kept the masks in place, we kept the social distancing in place, and it seemed to have worked. People now, interestingly enough, even with the governor opening up everything, so to speak, if you notice, people are not running back. They're cautious, they're still wearing the mask, they're still social distancing. The gyms are not overcrowded, the restaurants are being careful. So I think really what we have seen is through the strong leadership we have experienced by our city manager, by the mayor, by the commission, as a unified voice, I think what the residents can be most proud of is that we've been one voice and we've all had a direction to follow. And we took that direction through the community to our respective communities and respective residences. And, you know, when you have 40,000 people and 2 schools, it's not an easy task. We had a tremendous amount of, you know, conversation about how do we open our schools? We have, you know, 1,400, 1,500 kids. And, you know, you have parents that are staying home with children and all of a sudden somebody who was a lawyer, a doctor or whatever is becoming a school teacher. That's not something they've been accustomed to doing. That's not something that they were used to doing, but they did it because they realized that if the community was behind them and they were supporting these endeavors, it would work to the advantage. And now we opened up ACES. It's doing beautifully. The high school is doing beautifully. We have no problems with it. We've done it on a systematic basis. So I think what we've tried to do in summation of this whole thing is try to create, as I said, normalcy in the midst of chaos. And we've tried to create a calm in the city. And because of it, with the help of our police department that has been so diligent in observing and overseeing, and not in a vicious, not in an aggressive manner, but by a cooperative manner. And I must tell you, we've had situations where people didn't want to wear a mask, did want to wear a mask, they got into it. But I've personally watched the police department in this city deal with it on a calming level rather than to aggravate the situation. And again, I can only say that you should all be proud, not of individuals, but the cohesiveness and the group effort that this entire staff of the city, police, commission, city manager, all of us have accomplished for the good of our city. And I just want to say thank you for this opportunity and really thank the commission, because I must tell you that through our efforts, I believe we've gotten through the worst of it. We are still going to be diligent. We are not going to open up our arms just because someone says we can. We will do it when, as they say, science tells us we can do it and it's safe. But the safety is for the residents as well. So I thank you all very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Shelley, we thank you. We have gotten in a few questions. So I'm going to ask Elaine, what about weekends and holidays? I'm not sure what that refers to.
The buses.
Okay, so Ron, I know you're on there. Are we talking about the freebie buses? Okay, Vice Mayor Weinberg, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, there was that question, and there was also a question about
Yeah, Mr. Oviedo asked one about transportation within the city. So
the limits, right? So I was actually just typing a response. Basically, the schedule and the geographic boundaries are being determined. But initially, it's going to be a limited test run, and then it will continue to expand, and there will continue to be more vans added and more routes. And I personally, I certainly envision taking our residents and visitors, dropping them off at the beach, taking them to Gulfstream Park, etc. But this is going to be a work in progress that starts limited and expands. Thank you.
And during this time, City Manager, our regular shuttle bus service will also be in effect.
Fact.
Unmute.
Oh.
Okay, you're okay now.
I'm okay. All right. Yes, shuttle bus service is going to continue on. And then the freebie service, that'll run also 7 days a week. And it will be limited to the city and while initial period and then expanding out.
Okay, there's one other question for you, Mr. Wasson. I really think it's from Joseph Garrell. How about expanding electric charging stations in Aventura, adding to the community center? We're also, are we considering upgrading the Tesla charging stations at the mall to the new generation T3? I think we need to explain that the mall is private property. And Mr. City Manager, are we?
I think that answers the question. That's a private property. I'm sure Tesla will be improving their stations as that technology improves for them. And we're always interested in expanding electric charging stations. I do believe that FPL actually has a program where they can offer some of that to us, and we're always interested in looking into that.
Okay. I do have a question on here. I'm watching the clock very carefully, Elaine, but the county mayor has kept the curfew at 11 p.m. So I hope that addresses that question. Any questions for Commissioner Shelley? Any questions for Vice Mayor Weinberg? Okay, then I'm going to go right ahead and introduce Commissioner Dr. Linda Marks, who has taken the lead on the opening of our new high school and the head of that committee, as well as many other endeavors. So Dr. Marks, the floor is yours. Or
Thank you.
The Zoom is yours.
Zoom is mine. Thank you so much to everyone who's participating with us today. And thank you, of course, to our city manager, our mayor, who is beyond phenomenal, our police chief, and all the other fabulous people who work in our city. It does take a village, and this village, I think, is working very, very well. Our commission really has one goal, and that is to serve its residents in the very best way possible. And as you're hearing, just from the few people who spoke before me, we have lots of different kinds of things that we're putting forward because we know that a city is comprised of lots of different moving pieces, and we want to address all of them. So I'm specifically going to talk about schools. Before I do that, I do want to mention that there's something that may not come up today, so I'm going to bring it up because I think that it's important for all of you to know, and that is we have 5 assisted or skilled living facilities within our community. And these folks are our most vulnerable folks in many, many ways. And I will tell you, Sergeant Mark Frieder has been the person charged from the city, I'm sure through the chief, to really take over that responsibility. He has been relentless in consistently going out to see what's going on. I've had an opportunity to speak to all of our executive directors as well. And I want to tell you what a Herculean task it is and how fabulous it is the way they've taken care of our population, our seniors, our folks in assisted living, those who are in rehab or need skilled nursing, because this is another segment that you may not hear a lot about, but it's incredibly important that our city literally takes a specific interest in this. And I'm so proud to be a part of a commission that cares about that. So I'm going to speak to you about a passion of mine, which is children, because I truly believe that children are the future. And I am hoping that we can raise a generation of children that maybe can figure out how to do the future a little bit better than we've done it. So I think that as much time, energy, effort, love, devotion that we can give to our children is only going to come back and really pay us back as the years go on. So I'm going to talk about this in two segments. One is where are we now? And then two is where do we want to be? And the commission spent a lot of time, as did our employees who work in the schools, preparing an opening document so that we knew that we could, with great comfort, approve the opening of school. And I will tell you, it was a Herculean task. The principals worked with their teams. They worked with our city manager. They presented the documents to us. We ruthlessly tore things apart and put them back together because really we all wanted the children to have the very best opportunities that they could have. And the bottom line for any parents who are watching right now, it is an enormous decision as to whether or not you send your child back to school. We all acknowledge and understand that COVID-19 is still very much present. So the first decision that our parents needed to make is, should I send my child to school? Is my child immune compromised? Are there members of the family who are immune compromised so that if my child goes to school, he or she may bring that back home to the house? And that's a very important question. And the first question that, for those of you who may not have kids back in school yet, that you need to think about. Are you taking care of your child from a health perspective? Are you taking care of your family from a health perspective? And then another very, very important part that you all need to think about, most of our teachers in the city of Aventura have returned to school, but there's certainly a question on a broader scale, whether it's public schools or private schools, are the teachers going to be able to come back for the same reasons that I just discussed when you make decisions about your children and whether they should or should not go back to school? So it's very important in your particular environment, wherever your child goes to school, to find out how many of the teachers will really be there in person and how many of the teachers are going to be there through electronic means. Because if the majority of the teachers will be teaching through electronic means, then of course you may want to think about whether or not you want to send your child to school. Conversely, you may want to consider the other way, regardless, because it's important for your child to go to school. And then you have a situation where any of you who have children right now, or nieces and nephews or grandchildren or whatever, you've all become teachers. No college degrees, but here you go. You're the teachers. And it was a very challenging environment, as Commissioner Shelley mentioned, for parents who are also possibly working, and now they're also teachers. So we commend all of the adults who have participated in, youngsters' educations for all of these different reasons. And again, we know that you probably, if your children are going back to school, may be breathing a sigh of relief with a little bit of fear or trepidation about what does the future hold, but that the children can get back to school. So certainly the majority of children learn better in in-person learning. Some kids did beautifully with Zoom learning. Again, a decision that you should make on your own. So now, where do we need to be, or what does the future look like? Well, I have been blessed with a commission, as I said before, that believes in education. And one of the analyses that I did earlier, much earlier, about a year ago, is in looking at the number of children that from our community that are able to attend ACES, our elementary school. That's our K-8 building. And out of all of the Aventura City residents who apply for their children, only 1/3 get accepted because we don't have room. We just don't have room, and we have such a wonderful school, and we have a younger population now. And so all of those factors have really drawn us to the conclusion that I brought forward to the commission. Will you support me if I look for options so that we can add classrooms or space or a new building or whatever? And the commission 100% gave me their support. I've been working with the city manager, and I want to thank him. We're working very, very hard on this, but we're really hoping to be able to accommodate our children within our boundaries if that is a school that, again, you as the adults want your child to go to. So we're looking at those two different options, and we're working hard on both. This is a work in progress. Every day things change. Every day we learn something new. We are cleaning our buildings. Our city manager has worked on the air infiltration that comes in, and we've rebalanced that so there's more air coming in from the outside than there was before. We are socially distancing our children. We have one-way paths to walk, in the classrooms. We are phasing back the elementary children so that everyone has time, the K-8 children, so that everyone has time to really figure out what worked, what didn't work with the first few groups, and then we will go on and bring in the next few groups, and within a 2-week period, all the children from K-8 will be back in school. All of those whose parents want them, or whose, in the children's cases, have made the decision collaboratively to return to school. So again, we're moving forward. We are supporting. We are here for our community, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have about the city's educational process.
Okay, so far there are no questions that have been typed in the chat room, but I will say, piggybacking on what Dr. Marks said, is that the important part of this really wasn't when we open, it's how we open. Nothing fundamentally is going to change about this virus until we have vaccine. So we spent enormous time on the how part of it. And that's what the phasing has to do. So, it's a work in process, and we hope that it'll be really, really very positive. Let me see if Dr. Marks, there's a question. Could you please expand on the mental health hotline in 2 minutes?
Yes, thank you. And I was going to mention that I just got carried away with our assisted livings, which was my topic for the morning in terms of, really reaching out to folks. But early on in the pandemic, very early on in the pandemic, I realized that as president of the Point, we were finding folks were just getting depressed and anxious, and it was really affecting people's mental health. And then businesses were closing down, people were losing jobs, et cetera, et cetera. It was not a good time. And I realized, wow, we don't have anything in our city to really help people through this incredibly challenging time. So again, with 100% support of our commission, I was able to work with our city manager, Ron Wasson, and we were able to get a wonderful partnership with Florida Blue. And that hotline is still active, no cost, it's bilingual. You can call in Spanish and English. And the whole purpose is to help people through really probably some of the toughest times that we have lived through as an entire community.
Okay, from Joseph Garrell, he's supportive of expanding ACEs and feel that the eligibility criteria for ACEs needs to be updated. A lot of people move to Aventura a month before the new school year with the intention to join the school, and somehow they get in. Oftentimes current residents don't. I think what you're saying does address this, but if you want to make a comment or two, I have a minute or two.
Yes, we actually had touched on that subject about should there be a requirement where you have to live in the city for 1 or 2 years before, because we are also hearing that parents, because of the excellence of the school, parents are moving in right before the time when they have to apply. So it is something that we're going to be talking about. And I don't have an answer yet because it hasn't come before the commission, but it is a topic that we will be discussing.
Is there a timeline on that?
One second, please. Any questions, go through the chat box because we can't have people speaking out. I will tell you that the requirement to change it, the charter for the high school does have a residency requirement, and it says that the person must live in the city for a minimum of 1 year prior to applying. In order for us to change ACEs, we have to go through an amendment process and take the amendment to Dade County Public Schools, which grants the charter, and deal with them about accepting the amendment. But I can assure you, if I heard Dr. Marks right, she will bring it up at the next workshop. And then we'll be able to get back to you with our information. And does that answer your question, sir? Okay. I'm going to assume that that answered it for you.
And he wrote yes.
Yes, okay, okay, I did. Something's hiding, okay. If there are no more questions about it, and it is a work in process, then my next commissioner to introduce to you is Gladys Mezrahi, and she is all over our city doing all kinds of things and involved very deeply with the business community. So Commissioner Mezrahi, the Zoom is yours.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I just want to thank Elaine for this initiative of coming all of us together. And thank you to all the commission, our city manager. It's been an amazing journey. So today I wanted to talk about partnerships, because the partnerships has been one of the key tools that has brought positive outcomes to our city. And the relationships that we have been able to forge have also expressed that. So I wanted to start with the Don Sulphur High School and how internships are a crucial part of the education for our students. We did a partnership with Banesco USA, and they came forward not only with a monetary donation, but also a program that it's being developed with them in the school. For those students that want to pursue a career in medicine, starting in 11th grade and 12th grade, we are doing an internship with the Sheba Medical Center in Israel. It's one of the 10 hospitals in the world, and they have created a summer internship program with 4 weeks, hands-on training at no cost to the kids, all expenses paid for. With the pandemic, there was a little setback on this, but believe me, they will be continuing to pursue this. Another interesting partnership is the economic development. There was a partnership brought to the table that brought together the city of Aventura, Miami-Dade County, Aventura Mall, and Brightline. Not only we're ensuring economic development by bringing jobs, but we're also changing the future of transportation. With the Aventura station, we will be able to be in downtown in just 15 minutes without the stress of driving or sitting stuck in traffic. Also, with the overpass coming from the Aventura Mall to the station, we will be able to take either the our bus transportation or the freebies from our house to the mall, cross Biscayne, and we will be able to be in Disney World for a day trip in just 2.5 hours. Our next partnership was with the Greater Convention and Visitors Bureau that will bring the first visitor center to Aventura. And I think that now it's extremely important, now that Aventura, or well, the whole state is facing a downturn with the restaurants, and everybody wants the marketing and to be known so we can start the hospitality industry back and running again. And with this partnership, it will bring additional marketing at no cost to our businesses. And the last thing is that our best business development partner has been the Aventura Marketing Council. We did this as a business partner. We did this in 2008. We were able to connect businesses to new markets, as well as to help get jobs for many people that were in desperate need. And now we're doing it again. And lastly, the humanitarian partners. One of them is through the ARI Foundation. We were able to get a donation to the Police Foundation so that they would send a group of officers to go through the Pathways program, which is based on neuroscience and empowerment, so that they can get additional tools to cope with stressful situations. Another partnership was that 2 of our local businesses came together to recognize those women in the medical field during these difficult times. It was at Aventura Hospital, the Women's Choice Award, and Banesco Aventura. Another one of our partners was Pandemic of Love and the Aventura chapter that came together to make matches to help those in need and those that wanted to help, especially with FPL bills, the rent, car payments. It was not only giving them medicines, but also cash donations. And lastly, Hatsala has provided, for those of you who don't know, they have provided a service in our city for the past 10 years, helping those with medical emergencies in a matter that's sensitive to their religious and cultural needs with no cost to our residents. So today we're partnering, we're facilitating for them to have a communication channel to be able to perform their job in an unchallenging way. So partnerships do bring us together. It is not about us, it is all about all of us. This is the city that we live on. We are all Aventura, and thank you to everyone for making this possible. You're muted.
Michael and I are playing mute tag. Okay, thank you, Commissioner Mezrahi. It's now really, it's very personal when I introduce Commissioner Landman. Commissioner Landman was a student at Crop High when I was the principal. So needless to say, we go back quite a way. I'm so proud of her accomplishments. I think our youngest commissioner, you're on the floor now. You have the Zoom.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, Mayor Weisman was my principal. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our community programs and the services that we have been able to offer even during the pandemic. As a parent of young children, I know there's parents here, I know there's grandparents. We take pride in the parks and recreational facilities that we offer in our community. I mean, we have amazing parks, we have amazing community recreation center, we offer sports, we offer athletics for little ones, for big ones, we offer aftercare, before care, we offer summer programs, and our community has come to depend on these programs. And of course, everything changed during the pandemic. But I am proud to say that our city has gone above and beyond to try to create some sort of normalcy and offer, you know, limited programs or limited opening of parks. So I just want to go over a little bit of what has been done since actually starting May, when we reopened our park facilities on a limited basis. And we have reopened them without any incident. So since May, we were offering our residents an opportunity to go out to some green spaces, to get some fresh air, to exercise. And of course, you know, the playgrounds are closed and all of that, but at least there's an opportunity to get out and get out of the house. We also offered, which I'm very, and I'm proud to say that our very own Kim Merchant, our community services director, was appointed to the county reopening work group in regards to parks and recreation. So that, you know, that shows that we do a good job and they wanted our input. So summer care, we were able to offer a summer care program, and with meaningful experiences for children in our community, offering parents a little break from the intense family environment created by the quarantine and their ability for them to go to work knowing their children were safe. The summer care program at Aventura, at the city of Aventura, opened on June 8th, and we had 154 participants through the entire 8-week session. We avoided any closings, we had no incidents, and, you know, as you may well know, other programs in South Florida did have to close and quarantine classrooms, but we abided by all of the guidelines. We were very careful. We trained our personnel, and we were able to offer that experience without any incident. So I'm very proud of that. I know our whole commission is very proud of that. Tennis camp, we were able to reopen tennis camp. Tennis is one of the safest sports during this pandemic because, you know, it's individual. We had a half-day outdoors program to more than 50 participants in over 11 weeks since June 15. Yoga in the park, this is for adults. I've done the yoga in the park. It's great. We have an instructor there. It's free. We restarted on July 3rd. We space participants 10 feet. You know, we have space. It's not an issue. So we've been able to do that. Soccer, drills and skills, recreation and travel. We opened that up again on July 6th, and 27 participants in 3 classes from ages 3 to 13. And now we've expanded to 85 participants in 11 classes. Since school started, we have the after school tennis program, which started on August 31st, and we have 36 tennis players. So people are participating in our programs. And then basketball skills and drills open on September 12th at the rec center. And this is for kids ages 5 to 14. And we have a limit of 9 participants, and we have 36 participants and a wait list. Fall care is another program that, you know, we understand our parents need, so we're taking advantage of that. And I just want to say, after school care for ACEs starts on October 1st, tomorrow, for kindergarten students that are attending school on campus, and we'll phase in additional grades as soon as we, you know, continue with the reopening. And then last but not least, adult softball. This is for you, Vice Mayor. The season began on Sunday, September 27th, after a 6-month hiatus, and we're excited to report that all 9 teams return. So as you can see, people depend on our services. People appreciate it. It is a great way to build more, you know, community. People get out of their apartments and their houses, and we're proud to say that we, you know, we were able to offer all of this even throughout the pandemic. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't see any questions. So let me take my prerogative and ask Jeff Kilty if he has an update for us at all from the Broward Center. And those of you that don't know, the Broward Center handles all the programming for our Aventura Cultural Arts Center. So Jeff, I know you've had no notice, but I know you have the information. So give us a quick update.
So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Yes, a little bit on the spot, but we have a reopening plan that for the Arts and Cultural Center that is in process. The city manager has reviewed it. We have a couple of tweaks to make to it, and we're hoping to be able to move that forward. But the reality is that in the environment, many artists, tours, shows are just not able to make their tours happen until buildings get back to 100% capacity, which is going to be still a ways away. The economics are difficult, but we are hoping, and even though the governor had made the announcements about reopening, we're still under certain guidelines of, you know, capacity limits, distancing limits, and things like that, which would still apply. So we're looking right now. We don't really have anything on the books until mid-January, but we're hoping to be able to be open soon, and whoever can use the facility with those conditions will be able to come on in.
Thank you so much. And Anik, I know that FIU has been doing a food drive. Let me ask you in 1 minute, really quickly, tell us about it, because both Jonathan and I are on the Vice Provost Council.
Okay, thank you, Enid. So we are holding a food drive actually tomorrow.
Can't hear, talk louder.
We are having a food drive, can you hear me now? Yes, okay. We're having a food drive tomorrow at Aventura City Hall from 3 to 7 p.m. And I wanted to thank Vice Mayor Howard and Dr. Moransky for organizing that. Food insecurity is a huge problem across college campuses in the US. 40% of the students at FIU are food insecure. So we have a food pantry at the Biscayne Bay campus and at the Modesto Medellin campus. Students can come there once a week, take about 10 pounds of non-perishable foods, And I can't tell you how many hundreds of pounds we give out in just 1 month. So we rely on donations from the community. So if you can come out tomorrow and join the food drive, that will be absolutely wonderful and greatly appreciated.
Okay, Commissioner Weinberg, 30 seconds.
Sure. I just wanted to point out that myself and former Vice Mayor Billy Joel are also on the Vice Provost Council. I'm
You're
very
correct.
excited to work with David to bring this tomorrow. Thanks, Mayor.
Yeah, you're correct. I'm sorry for the oversight. Okay. Anik, there's been a request for your email so people can contribute. So if you can go on the chat box and put it down, thank you so much. Thank you. I want to, and this really will pretty well sum it up. As we move into what the governor has called phase 3, and I told my commissioners that were on a little earlier this morning that this morning the mayor of the county had a conference Zoom with every other mayor of the municipalities. Without question, there was a feeling that the governor may be moving a little quickly. With that said, I will tell you, it's a dangerous time. It's this tipping point between destroying our economy and sickness and illness and death. So I will say to all of you, it's not an open house. There will be rigorous enforcement of rules. And I can see that Mr. Kilty is nodding because he's been on the same kind of calls that I've been on. The most concerning are bars that are not serving food, where people tend to hang out and congregate. The city manager will be putting out an update of the county mayor's order with all of the restrictions. One of my biggest concerns has been the opening of our tot lots. And I will tell you, one of the hardest things for me to see is a resident sent me a picture of his child standing at the closed fence and looking at the equipment longingly. However, we all know that when you're 3, 4, and 5, everything goes from your hand to your mouth, and your mouth gets all over the equipment. We're not insensitive. Every rule we've made has only been made because we feel it's in the best interest of the health and safety of the residents of this city. There is no other agenda. There is no other agenda. So you will be hearing more about that from our city manager either later today or tomorrow. I too want to thank always Elaine, amazing job, and also an amazing technology. I have to thank Michael Stern, amazing technology that we can reach this many people with the information that we have. You know, the governor's order expires today on municipal meetings being able to be held by Zoom. But it doesn't have anything to do with chamber meetings. So I think this is another tool in your toolbox. Okay, it's not going to be always, but it is another tool that at least other than governmental entities will have this. I have to give a big thank you to all of the residents of our community. You know, in March, the last thing anybody wanted to do was wear a mask. And I will tell you that by September, August, almost everybody in the city is wearing a mask. And the one thing that almost every medical expert agrees on, if 100% of the population wore masks for 60 days, we would eradicate this disease. So even though we're opening up, I have to say, take care of yourself, take care of yours, and make the right kinds of decisions. Wearing a mask is respect for yourself, and it's respect for every other person that you come in contact with. I care deeply about all of you. I want to thank you, and let me turn the closing of the meeting over to Gary Pyatt.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Vice Mayor Howard Weinberg, Commissioners Denise Landman, Dr. Linda Marks, Gladys Mezrahi, and Bob Shelley, as well as all of the other individuals that gave updates. As the Mayor said, wear your masks, be safe. There was a tremendous amount of information and update on our city provided once again from those that lead our city of excellence. One of the quiet individuals, but I will thank him for everything he does, is our city manager. He was there. He was fairly quiet today, but we appreciate everything that he does every single day for our city as well, especially during these trying times. Also, I'd just like to give one last thank you to our meeting sponsor, Ray Ramirez, for the Aventura Hilton, in being a consistent and continuous sponsor of the Chamber of Commerce. And again, to Michael, as the mayor said, to Michael for conducting all of our Zoom meetings on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce. That being said, I thank everybody for giving some time today on this Wednesday afternoon to the City of Aventura update. Have a great day in the City of Excellence, wherever you are, and we look forward to you spending tomorrow. If you come to our meeting tomorrow that we have, we look forward to you spending again. So thank you, Mayor, and all of the commissioners and everybody for your time this afternoon.
Gary, one little update from Elaine. The Marketing Council is going to email the food drive flyer to everyone on their list today. So hopefully the kids that attend FIU will have one less thing to worry about. It's unconscionable that children go hungry in this country.
As always, anything that any of you need that the Chamber of Commerce can assist in, you always know Elaine, you always know our door is open. Just please let us know. We're here to help. Thank you, everybody, and have a great day in Aventura.
And stay safe.
Thank you.
Wear your mask.